Okay, we have a permanency hearing in both cases. I read the file, the reports. Looks like the kiddos are doing well. Miss Destiny's changed to work during the day, so that's good. I think it was a CPS report that said we needed to get a hair strand. I think Miss Destiny took a hair strand on the 17th. Miss King, are those results back yet?
Yes, ma'am.
They are. Okay. And all kiddos are still where they were to start out with, or not start out with, but the littles are with the Fosters in Williamson County. Ridley's with her grandma and going to see her dad occasionally. And I have Mr. Teal still is not doing anything. So, Mr. Robinson, let's start with you. What do you need today?
Well, I'd like Ms. King to report on the drug test for the hair strand.
We received a positive hair strand test for Destiny Till for methamphetamines and a little bit of marijuana.
Okay. And what is the department's position at this point?
Destiny.
Hold on, Ms. King. Have y'all talked to Ms. Miller about this?
Yes, we've talked about it.
Okay, just making sure everybody had knew about it, and
I haven't seen anything, but I've heard about it, and that's good enough.
What was the first part of what you just said, Ms. Miller?
I haven't seen anything, but I've heard about it, and that's good enough.
Okay, well, Ms. King and Ms. Milloway, when we get our drug results, we're supposed to immediately send them to everybody. So, or Ms. Brown, I guess you're filling in for Ms. Milloway today. So, okay, y'all need to circulate those. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on, Ms. King.
Well, clearly, as close as we are to the end of this case, we feel this is pretty detrimental to the progress that Destiny has made. This definitely is a step back, and I know that she's been working hard in her sobriety, but again, I mean, you know, she also was not attending a lot of the classes that she needed to, as far as her sobriety, helping her with that. It's obvious that she's just not ready yet to take these kids on full time.
I didn't understand the first part of what you said, Toby. Something that she is doing her services or she's not doing her services.
She has done her services, but as far as her, she's not taking care of her sobriety like she needs to. She's not attending the AA meetings, the NA meetings, hadn't been reaching out to a sponsor. All of that has since changed. She's had this positive test. But up until then, it was, you know, Destiny, are you doing this? I'm gonna do this. I need this. They're gonna do that. And she wasn't taking care of herself and her addiction like she needed to, as far as support groups and things of that nature.
I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Miller.
Thank you. All right, Ms. King, what do you think about the concept that relapse is a part of recovery?
I'm very well aware that that's what it is in Destiny, and you know, it's a great possibility, and Destiny and I have talked about that a lot.
Okay. Do you think that this one incident, this one positive test, could be the kick in the you know what that she needed?
That's really hard for me to say, Mrs. Miller.
Okay. Well, what have you, the two of y'all, talked about since you disclosed the test results to her?
We've had a lot of conversations, and main thing is that she needs to continue working on her sobriety. I mean, we've discussed that in just latent terms that she's still an infant in her sobriety as an adult, as a parent, and that she needs to continue moving forward.
Okay. What has she told you that she's done since you told her about the positive meth test?
Well, I know that she has reached out to support people from San Angelo when she was placed in there. Previous to the positive test, she had said that she had found a sponsor at work. However, she also claimed that the reason she used and the people she used with were people at work as well. So I know.
Well, hold on just a second. The person that's the sponsor and the person that had the methamphetamines are probably not the same person, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. You are correct.
Okay. So, did she tell you that she's going to be looking for another job to get away from that coworker?
She has been looking for another job probably for the last couple of months.
Okay.
As she's shared with me.
Okay. And what were the circumstances of her use? Did she tell you that?
I know that she said that she had been stressed with some deaths in the family. And lots of other stresses of being an adult and working. But mainly, I believe that she had some loss in her family.
Okay. I think she lost both of her grandparents within the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this isn't a healthy way of coping with that, but she relapsed as a way to cope with those losses, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so did she tell you that she got in touch with her recovery coach that she still stays in touch with in Longview?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe that person's name is Linda Bischoff.
Yes, to my knowledge, that's her.
Okay. And so she's counseled with her. Destiny has counseled with Ms. Bischoff since the relapse.
I've not seen any documentation or have heard anything to that. I mean, I'm sure that's happened, but I have no proof, honestly.
Okay. Well, I just circulated a letter to everybody that's on the screen now from Ms. Bischoff. It's kind of hard to read because it's in this big loopy cursive, but everybody that's on the screen should have received that. That talks about her conversation with Destiny. Would you be willing to take a look at that while we're in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And also I understand Miss Teal's car got stolen. Is that correct?
That was in when she was at Sarah's house in San Angelo. Prior to her moving here.
Okay.
She's had a vehicle since she's been here.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, I think she even used the phrase in this letter that Destiny's still kind of in the infancy of her sobriety, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so we're looking at a final hearing being held in this case, I believe, in June, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then our final.
It's May.
Oh, I thought it was June. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. Our dismissal date is in June. We have 2 dismissal dates in June and then the final May 23rd, correct? Ms.
Yes,
King? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay. And so that was my mistake. I apologize. Okay. Well, what else would you like to see Ms. Teal do other than what she has told you that she's working on right now?
Of course, she needs to continue with her sobriety and utilize all the tools that she's been handed and understand that this is bigger than she is and that she needs to follow through and have a plan and have a way. So she does need to continue what she's doing. But of course, the main concern is that level of trust. She's got 3 little ones that are depending on her. And, we had started supervised visitations with a family member while she had, clearly had been using. And so there is a great concern with that. She's going to have to earn that back, obviously. And I don't know that we have the time to do that.
Okay. You're not saying that she was necessarily under the influence while she was visiting with the kids, are you?
I have no way of knowing, Mrs. Miller. I mean, she was positive on a hair strand. So that goes back weeks. Yeah. I have never felt like she's been under the influence while I've has supervised a visit, but you understand, I'm not always there supervising. It's a family member now.
Right.
And
But
so
they didn't-
that would be, I know that
They didn't-
Destiny.
Hold on just a second. They didn't report anything weird to you, did they?
No, not at this time, no.
Okay, all right. I don't believe I have any further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wood?
Ms. King, my attorney has a divorce attorney as well, and I understand that Storm is working out in West Texas. Have you been in contact with him at all?
No, sir, I have not. I still via text. And that phone number that you shared with me, that's all I have for him. I know that, I've
Is that
had
the new
people.
number?
I'm sorry,
Is
what?
that what you understood to be the new phone number?
The new phone number was several months ago that you gave me.
Has he been in touch with you or communicated back by text at all?
No, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. I thought that Mr. Anderson was, oh, there he is. Okay, sorry. I knew he always comes. I knew he was somewhere around. Okay, Miss Bennett, any questions, Miss King?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Next witness, Mr. Robinson.
Your Honor, if I can ask Ms. King a couple of other questions, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine, Ms. Moore.
Thank you. Ms. King, since we haven't seen the test results, can you tell us the dates and the levels on that paperwork?
Absolutely. I'm looking that up right now because just a moment.
Ms. Miller, while we're on a temporary break, you said you circulated a document? Did you send
Yeah, I
that?
just emailed it to everybody that was on an email chain. I'll see if you're on it. I didn't look and see if everybody, I didn't look and see who the recipients were, but I just sent it around.
Okay, I didn't see it. That's why I was asking.
Okay, the date that it was collected was 3/17 of 23. And it was received by the company on 3/21 of 23. And that's when the date test verified was 3/21 of 23.
Okay. And who was she living with on March the 17th of 23 when the substance was collected? Anybody to your knowledge?
None to my knowledge. She's supposed to have been at her home, and she does travel back and forth to her cousin's house, I believe, the family member in San Saba.
Okay. And you can't testify as to what the levels are on that piece of paper?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay. What are the levels?
For the marijuana, it was 0.2, and the methamphetamines was 2,093.
Okay. Do you know what the units of measurement are for either one of those tests?
I know confirmation, but I don't know uses of measurement. The confirmation for methamphetamines is 500.
Okay.
And for the marijuana, it's 0.1.
Okay. All right. So even without scientific knowledge, I guess in layperson's knowledge, those levels are relatively low compared to what we've seen with other parties, correct?
I think anything over 500 would be considered high in my opinion, but
okay. Well, that's 500 is the cutoff. Anything below 500 is not going to be recorded, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
And isn't it fair to say that we have parents in this court that are in the hundreds of thousands and the tens of thousands as far as meth goes?
Yes.
Even without knowing what the unit of measurement is for the meth, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
We see numbers a lot higher than that all the time, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that may be indicative of one-time use and may be consistent with what Miss Teal told you, right?
Very possible, yes.
Okay, all right. And so just to quickly change subjects on you here. It is, of course, the department's policy to place children with family whenever possible. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then Renly, of course, is placed with paternal family. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the Littles are just placed with a straight up foster family, correct?
Foster adopt. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long have they had the Littles with them?
Since May.
Okay, so
Last
by the
year?
time we get to the final, it will have been a year, correct?
Yes, that's actually, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so it's still the department's policy, regardless of where we are in the case, to continue to seek out family members. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what has been your experience with the Harmons in Kansas?
We ordered an ICPC for them. It was not completed, and the information that we received on that is that they were non-compliant with what they had been asked to do. So that home study failed.
Hold on just a second. What did the non-compliance have to do with?
That they were not in communication with Kansas at that point. They could not.
Okay.
That they
But
just
you
couldn't
don't know
cooperate.
anything other than from Texas folks, correct?
That's all we know.
Okay, all right. You haven't heard from the Harmons, right?
No, I reached out to them and
Okay.
I heard nothing.
You didn't hear back from them?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
And can I say that we requested, we were asked to request another ICPC for them after that one was denied. And they had no desire to do that. And that
Can you
was
tell
not
me
even-
specifically, hold on just a second. Can you tell me who had that conversation? Did you have that conversation with them? And if you did, do you recall approximately when you had that conversation with them?
I did not have that conversation with them. I had that with Destiny because they had not reached back out to me.
Okay,
And Destiny said that they felt like, they wanted to support her in any way that they could, but they didn't feel like at that time they needed to do that because Destiny was very close to getting her children back. Now,
I
this
see.
is from Destiny. This is hearsay.
okay, all right. Well, it's not hearsay because Destiny's a party, but it's what Destiny told you, correct?
Absolutely. Secondhand knowledge.
Okay, all right, very good. So you haven't had any communication with the Harmons other than them turning up in court today?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, nothing
That's
further.
it.
Your Honor. Okay,
Anybody have any questions, Ms. King?
Just a couple of quick things.
Thank you.
Ms. King, that test was done by the Texas Alcohol and Drug Testing Service.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and isn't it normal when they do a hair test that they do that in picograms?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Your Honor, I'm
and-
going to
Speculation.
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
Permission to take the witness on
I'll
board.
withdraw the question. Let's move on.
Y'all all can't talk at the same time.
Ms. King,
He
if-
moved on.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I need to object to this because Ms. King is not qualified to testify as far as picograms go. And I need Mr. Robinson to quit speaking while I'm objecting.
I just withdrew the question. Let me rephrase. Ms.
Okay,
King,
rephrase.
if we need to get a copy of the business records affidavit and the general information on this test, can we do so?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And I would ask the parties if y'all would like that. I will be glad to request that today.
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank
Very
you. We would have actually liked to see it before today's hearing, but if we could see it during the hearing, that'd be great.
I will try and email the actual test, but I will not have the business record affidavit.
It's better than nothing.
For
Yes.
the record, that's not the actual test. The actual test comes with the business records affidavit
I
from
agree.
the lab who actually did the testing.
These are the test results allegedly from them that I will share with y'all if you would like.
Are you done, Mr. Robinson?
Yes, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Anybody else?
No,
Ms.
Your
King,
Honor.
when did the department get these results?
The 21st of March.
And today's the 28th. That's a week later, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Why weren't they circulated to everybody?
My apologies. I know it was circulated to Mr. Robinson and Ms. Tupin. And I via text had spoke with Ms. Miller. My apologies. I dropped the ball on that one.
Well, I'm just going to say this for about the 3,000th time. I've talked to the regional director. I've talked to the program director. I've talked to all the supervisors and said drug results are circulated upon receipt. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So pass that on to everybody that you work with, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And I do apologize. And I also misspoke when the Till children have been with the Fosters since March, not May. My apologies again.
Okay, March of 2022, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, next witness, Mr. Robinson.
I'd be glad to hear from CASA on their opinion, what's going on.
Okay, we'll get to them towards the end. Anybody else?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Miller, any witnesses?
Do you, Your Honor? I've Jackie Harmon, who is in the waiting room.
Okay.
Judge, before we do that, I do have one more question of Ms. King.
Okay.
Ms. King, when was the last hair follicle that Ms. Teal submitted to?
I honestly don't recall the date. It had been several months, but if you can give me 1 second.
I can if the judge can.
Let me
It's
see.
been months since she's had one.
Well, and Your Honor, if I can clarify something, I thought the 317 and 321, the test that we were talking about, was a hair strand test.
It is.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
I'm asking when the last hair strand prior to the current one up for discussion was.
Okay.
That
August.
I know she was still in San Angelo when she did that. She had not moved back into this area.
It was in August.
Hold on, Ms. Teal, you probably need to be quiet. Please, Ms. Miller, probably don't want you to talk right now. We're talking to Ms. King.
It was prior to her having surgery. Give me one.
Toby, isn't this it in your drug test results right here on your?
Yes, it's not. I don't have a running copy of that. I did not. But I'm looking in my old drug reports, my old court reports, because I know it's in there. And it was in August. It was towards the end, but I don't have a specific date. So
Okay,
that's
so-
what I'm looking for.
So August, so around 8 months ago.
Yes.
Okay. Was the current hair test, was that a hair test, a head hair, or another type of hair test?
No, it was head hair.
Okay. No more questions, Judge.
Thank you. Anybody else? No, okay. Ms. Miller, you said you called the lady as a witness, correct?
Right.
Miller, you may begin, please.
Thank you. Ms. Harmon, my name is Emily Miller. I represent Destiny Teal. And I know you and I have not had the opportunity to visit before, but could you tell us how you are related to the people in this case?
I'm related to Destiny. She is my second cousin. My grandmother, Annette, actually had custody of both of us at one time, and Destiny and I lived together.
Okay. All right. Very good. And where do you live right now?
I live in Plainville, Kansas.
Okay. And you have been the subject of a couple of home studies by the Kansas CPS equivalent. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you aware that they turned in their report to Texas saying that you did not pass the home study?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the reason, to your knowledge, for not passing?
We had our failed home study. We were told that it was because we did not agree to fencing off a second portion of our property that we have a waterway on. We did comply with the side that our home is on. And we were told at the time that that would be sufficient. And then when they came back to do the final home study, they told us no, that we would have to erect another fence on the adjacent side of the waterway as well.
Okay, so they kind of changed their story, correct?
Yes, I mean, I would not say that it was due to not communicating. But I guess if that is considered not electing to spend another 15,000 plus on another fence, then
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, and so in order to fence off that portion of property that they want you to force off, that's how much it's going to cost?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is your relationship to the kids prior to the CPS case?
I have met the kids, yes, and spent some time with Destiny and her children prior.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about who was in your home and what you do for a living.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Tell me a little bit about who was in your home, who all lives there, and what you do for a living.
I am an account administrator for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas. And in my home, it's myself, my spouse, and my 2 daughters.
Okay. Does anybody in your house have any criminal convictions or criminal matters pending?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And has anybody in your house been in trouble with your CPS equivalent?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so the home study would have come back okay on you, but for the fence, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's my understanding.
Okay. All right. And you understand that even if it is a stupid fence, that the judge can place a child out of state without a home study that passes both Texas and Kansas's rules and requirements.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you all have any plan to get the fence? Are you all thinking about getting the fence? What is your
Discussed it. We have discussed it. We have not 100% decided. My fear was that if we erected another $15,000 fence, and we didn't get the kids, I just feel like it was unnecessary money spent. We did erect the one on the side of our home.
And how much did that cost y'all?
$14,000.
Okay. And you've already done that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And so you don't want to spend another $15,000 or take out a loan for another $15,000 without some kind of assurance that the kids are going to be placed with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that may not,
the loan out at this point.
you'll have to take a loan out for that. Okay.
Yes,
all right. Okay. I don't have any further questions for Ms. Harmon, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms.
Thank
Bennett.
Hi, Ms. Harmon. I'm Natalie Bennett. I represent the kids. Do you recall talking on the phone to Ms. Level, the CASA, and to I back in January?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And is your state a state where they require you to be licensed as a foster parent, or you just have
Yes,
to?
ma'am. And the foster company is through what they call St. Francis Ministries.
I'm trying to remember. When was the last time you saw the kids?
It has been right at a year since our last home study.
Oh, that's when you saw the kids too, was back then?
Oh, no, when I saw the kids, it has been prior to the case. I saw Destiny right before the case started. We had actually come home and gone together. We spent the afternoon, actually 2 afternoons together when I was home last.
Okay, so Walter would have just been like a baby.
I have not met Wilder yet.
Okay.
Before he was born.
Okay. That's all. Thank you. Pass the witness, Judge.
Anybody else? Ms. Harmon, what's the waterway that they apparently were concerned about? Because there's all different kind of waterways that I've had problems with. I personally didn't have a problem with a lot of the waterways, but some of the waterways were like a dry creek. Okay.
That's kind of what this, but it actually drains from our city drainage system. It was put in place to reroute around the new football field. And so it is a dry creek bed, basically. Unless we get significant amount of moisture, there's usually nothing in it.
So it's something for runoff, for rain, for flooding control, things like that. I think there's a word for that, and I'm not saying the right word. I can't think what it is right now, but okay. So if you went outside now, there wouldn't be any water in it, right?
Yes, ma'am. There would not be.
Do the kids play? Do the kids normally play in it?
No, ma'am. Not that I'm aware of. We've only lived in at this residence for a little over a year, but I've never seen any children in it. It's actually, our property is private. On one side of us, it is the city, and one side is the county. We actually live in the county. So it is private property, so we don't have any kids playing in it.
Okay. How old are your children?
14 and 18.
And what does your husband do?
He is a rancher.
Rancher?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Had you looked into what was required to go through the fostering licensing process before?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it crazy? Was it doable? What do you think?
It was complex, but I mean, it was doable. We completed, we took the classes, we passed the background checks, we did the little bit of counseling individually and as a family for that, all prior to the last couple of home studies. It seemed as if everything was going okay. We purchased lock boxes for cleaning supplies, medications, our kitchen knives. We did a couple of little small projects to our house to make them, to make it safe for the children. It was ultimately came down to the waterway and the fence.
Did a different person come and do, make that recommendation than had previously been there?
Yes, ma'am.
Still somebody from the state though?
From St. Francis Ministries. Yes, ma'am.
So all this time you've been working with people from St. Francis Ministries?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ask them why? Hey, why now? Why didn't y'all tell us that earlier?
We did. We were just told that it was non-compliant.
Not
I
oops.
was really disappointed in the response that we got, because we did not necessarily try to fight them, but we did, request something as to why initially the side on our home fenced off was sufficient, and then why they came back and said, we want you to erect the fence on the other side of the waterway because we also own the property on the other side of the waterway.
So there's y'all waterway, then more of y'all's property, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Here's your house, here's the waterway, and here's the other property. Is all of y'all's property fenced?
No, ma'am. So on the, which would be west side of our home, which our house faces, it is not fenced in. We do have a yard there, and we do have a little drive that is near a street. On the west side, our home is fenced in. Then there's the waterway, and then the property on the other side, my husband, we have a horse barn, a shop, but some of that property is fenced in to house our livestock.
Okay. Is there a fenced in backyard where the kids would play in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basically you have a fence and then they wanted you to put another fence?
No, ma'am. We actually erected the fence initially to fence in the backyard, which also blocked the waterway. So we did it all at once. We didn't have a fenced in backyard when we initially purchased the home.
Okay. But now you have a safe, secured backyard fence
Yes, ma'am.
that dogs or children or things like that can stay in, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That waterway, where does it run into?
I'm not sure exactly. It goes across, under the street, through a culvert, and then it continues on.
Okay. So not anywhere close. Does it run into a river or a lake or anything?
No,
like
ma'am.
that? Okay. Do both your children go to school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Mila is 3. How many times during her lifetime have you met her or seen her in real life?
3 times.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions, Ms. Harmon? Oh, I don't know. I forgot one. Ms. Harmon, do you have all these study results in writing?
No, ma'am, but I can get them. I don't have all of them. I do have, where we passed our criminal background checks and completed our classes, but I can get the results of the home study if needed.
Yes, can you get those and forward those to Ms. Miller, please, to send to everybody? And I'm talking about the ones that were approved, the ones that were denied, names of people that denied them, phone numbers, address, things like that. I like email address, stuff like that Ms. Miller, Ms. Bennett, Ms. Level, somebody could contact if needed.
Okay. Be more than happy to do so.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions, Ms. Harmon?
May I ask a
No,
question,
you
Judge?
can ask questions.
All right.
You can
Thank
text
you.
Ms. Bennett. You can, Ms. Level, you can text Ms. Bennett or Mr. Robinson, but you can't ask questions. Ms. Miller, go on.
Thank you. Ms. Harmon, while you're putting that information together, could you also take some pictures on your phone of the drainage ditch or the purported waterway that they're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And get those to my office?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Harmon, I'd also like maybe like a video or something you could send Ms. Miller from your backyard to this drainage ditch. And
Okay.
just so we can kind of get a
How it
better
goes.
yeah, how it would affect the property. Take some pictures of your backyard, maybe get at the drainage ditch from your front yard, all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Bennett.
Yes. So the question was, I'm assuming you're here because you're willing to take the children. Are you looking at all 3 children or 2 children, or we just wanted to clarify?
Ideally, I don't want the kids to be split up. I mean, I know that they are now, but we are more than willing to take all 3 children.
Okay. Thank you. That's all, Judge.
Okay. Anybody else?
One quick question. There's a lot of dads in this case. If there were visitations ordered, would you be willing to supervise those and allow for interaction with the fathers in this case?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Ms. Harmon, I'll let you stay on for the rest. Ms. Miller, next witness, please.
I don't have any further witnesses, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wood, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Baker, Mr. Anderson's here. Any witnesses?
I think we just need to get an update from Mr. Anderson on his current situation. Wesley, can you hear us? You're muted. There you go.
I'm here. I've just been getting moved to different units, so I'm just not getting settled into the unit I'm at. I will be signing up for more classes and hopefully get those on the ball very soon. But other than that, nothing's changed.
Okay. Has your release date changed or anything?
I mean, it's my minimum short way is January 4th of next year.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the first part of that?
My minimum short way is January 4th of next year, 2024.
Okay. Judge, do you need to know anything else?
No, Mr. Anderson, we have multiple people incarcerated. This was the one where we had the interesting emails, correct?
I'm not sure of what you speak of, Judge.
Did you give somebody an award?
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, his new unit has some pretty hefty restrictions for him to appear. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Mr. Anderson, tell the folks there, I think you're at Tennessee Colony, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell them thank you for allowing you to appear today, because Mr. Baker's always worked very easily with the other units that you've been at, but you don't know this, I don't believe, but this unit is the hardest one of the hardest ones that we've had to work with, okay?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Ms. King almost had to tell her how much she weighed. I mean, she had to give all kinds of information to your unit, okay? I just get that they're not consistent across the board, but be sure and tell them thank you, because we want you to be able to appear again. Okay.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And once again, do your classes, send your certificates of completion to Mr. Baker so he can circulate those, right, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When Renly comes to see you, how is she sad? Is she happy? How does she act?
She's a mess. She's happy. I was
Okay.
really excited that she wanted to see me after her birthday. That really made me happy.
Okay, good. And your mom and Renly are coming about once a month?
Well, I haven't been able to get very many contact visits because the unit I was at was smaller, so you had to set up months in advance, and then the one that we did set up, it ended up being behind the glass, so Renly didn't want to stay the whole time, so of course I'm not going to make her, so they left.
Right.
But now I'm over here. She can set up business whenever she wants, and as long as they can make them, they can come.
Okay. Well, and I imagine the transition between units kind of put a little delay in also. So.
Oh yeah, since all the escape with that guy happened, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Good luck to you as always. Okay. Miss Level, what do you think about all this?
Your Honor, I'd like to talk about the children a little bit, if I may. I think I'm the person who's seen Renly most recently since all this went down. I saw her yesterday afternoon. And I'm very concerned about Renly, Judge. She was not herself. She did not want to talk to me. I tried to talk to her about some fun things, baseball, birthday party she went to last weekend. She gave me very short answers. And then after a few minutes, she just curled up in a ball in the chair and acted like she was going to go to sleep. She just withdrew. And I spoke with her Nana, Flossie, after that. We went out in the yard and talked, and Flossie said that she has been withdrawn. So this visit being canceled over the weekend, it was very hard on her. She's a smart girl. She knows if a visit gets canceled, that means something's up. And so I'm quite concerned about her. I asked Becky if she had a therapy appointment scheduled this week. It's going to be critical that Renly attends her therapy and that she has someone, hopefully, that she will talk to. That being said, I'm really concerned about her state of mind right now. I know she looks forward to the visit. She looks forward to being with her mom, with her siblings, and being with Mylan Wilder is really important to her. Mila, as I wrote in my court report, she's had some regression issues. She's adjusting to some things and some emotions in her life. I can only think that a change in the schedule, that's going to affect her as well. Wilder, my main concerns with Wilder are his health issues. He just continues to be sick and he has these respiratory issues. And I did send Destiny before all this happened, back a month or more ago. I can't remember, but I sent her a list of his doctor's appointments, that were scheduled so that she could attend the doctor's appointments. I think that she has only been able to attend one. And he had an appointment last week. And, unbeknownst to me at that time, Destiny's drug test was positive. I don't know that she knew that, or maybe she knew it was going to be, but anyway, she did not attend the visit. So I was concerned about that because they had this weekend visit scheduled and Wilder has breathing treatments and so forth. There's just a lot to keep up with Wilder. And so I've been concerned about that. That's still a concern. So as far as where we are, I wish I had a good answer. The appeal of the situation with the Harmons in Kansas is that the siblings, if that was to happen some way, then the siblings would be together. of course, it concerns me that Renly then would be kind of away from her support system, her grandma and her great grandma and her friends at school and all her activities. You know, I wish I had a good answer. Of course, Destiny had been making really good progress. It was kind of heartbreaking. I do understand that relapses do happen. I'm sad that it has happened, and I'm sad that it has happened at this point in the case. But I know Destiny loves her kids, and she has been trying. So I think that's where we are.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions, Ms. Lovell? No. Okay, Ms. Bennett, what's up? It's Attorney Latham.
I would basically repeat Ms. Lovell's concerns and everything. I mean, we talk. I have the same concerns and worries. Renly was really upset about everything that happened and all of that. I will say I am very happy that the foster parents and the grandmother have been working together to make sure that there are sibling visits. And so they have been having sibling visits and stuff, and that's been going really good. And that's helped Renly, I think, a lot. I know Renly was concerned at one point about if she was going to still get to see her dad or not, if she went back to her mom's. So I know she also wants to, continue seeing her dad. But yeah, I would just reiterate everything.
So what, Ms. King or Adams, what is the plan for Miss Destiny to be able to see the kiddos now?
Well, she's going to have to, of course, have 3 clean UAs that are scheduled, not just when she wants to take a drug test. And then we can address that after that. But we need to make sure that she's staying sober at all times.
What,
And of
Ms.
course,
King, tell me her last UA testing.
when was it? She
Yeah.
did a UA the same day she did a hair follicle, and it was negative.
Okay. So that was on the 17th. Been a UA since then?
No, ma'am. She told me that she tested Friday, but that was just a random test, I believe. It's kind of weird how this all happened. I had given her an opportunity to have less testing because she had been doing so well. So I moved it to where she had to test twice a month. And that one week, I believe it was the first week in March, that she was supposed to have tested on her new color. She did not, but her old color had actually come up that same week. And so I'd hoped maybe she had tested on either one of those days, and she did not. She did not have an explanation for why she didn't. She said she called to check the colors, but that's as far as she got on that. And that was the week of the funeral, I believe. But still, she knew she needed to test, and she has been faithful with that. And the answers that she had were not acceptable, to what she had been, what I had been accustomed to with dealing with her. I knew something was up at that point.
Well, she's nodding her head that she did do a test last week. Ms.
Right,
Miller,
No, I don't know. I did not know that, but I mean, I would argue that in the best interest of the child, I mean, she's clearly suffering ill effects from not having that visitation with mom and her siblings. And
I got it.
since that day came back clean, I would ask that visitation resume.
I second that.
Hold on. Miss Destiny, did you take a test last week?
I took one Friday.
And why
it was a random, it was a call-in color day. So Miss Toby should have the results back whenever, I guess. Okay. They normally get them.
Destiny, what color did you test on?
Purple, because I had asked you about which colors, and you said you and Morgan were going to talk about it.
Right. And purple was Friday, because I really thought purple was yesterday.
No, it was Friday. Yesterday
think-
was green and black.
Okay, if it was your scheduled day, then I can't argue that fact, and I'm glad you tested, but I really thought,
No, yesterday was green and black, and I haven't had a chance to call today.
okay, well, then I can look for your results later this afternoon. They should be in, hopefully.
That would be the color on Friday was purple.
Was it? Okay.
So you tested the 17th, you ate the 17th, you ate last week, which maybe was like the 24th or something, and you got a call in today, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Baker, what did you say while we were talking about that?
Oh, I seconded. I was just seconding Ms. Miller request that visitation, at least with regard to Renly, continue.
Okay. At a hearing on 11/29/22, I ordered mediation with Sonia Wright by 4/1/23. What's the status of that, Mr. Robinson?
We did meet and it was adjourned as we did not get a completion. We're reset, I believe, for May the 9th, Your Honor.
Yeah, good. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Destiny can visit after 2 clean consecutive UAs. So if her UA that she took last week is clean, she can resume her visits. Y'all, Ms. Teal, you know you have a service plan, you have to comply, your parental rights can be subject to termination. Ms. Harmon, you're not a party, so I can't make any orders against you, but Ms. Miller, if you can be sure and get with Ms. Harmon, get all that information, please, and circulate that to everyone, that will be helpful. And were the foster parents included in on the media? Were they available for the mediator to contact at the last mediation? Okay. Well, they need to be, y'all need to, I'm going to put that down. They don't need to attend, but fosters to be available for mediation. Is Ms. Shahan still helping with the visits? Okay, good. Okay, Ms. King, what do you need?
I was just wondering if maybe you could clarify for me the visitations. We'd been alternating between Ms. Shahan helping and us observing. Do we still go with that, or do I need to supervise all of these visitations?
No, we're going to go back to the way we were.
Okay.
That I'm not going to deal with this crazy visitation again. I mean, we're just going to do it the way we were with pre-hiccup.
Even on overnights? Yes, ma'am.
No. Did I have overnights?
They had never started.
We were about to start prior to this. There was actually an overnight visit scheduled that weekend.
We were attempting to work into a monitored return, Your Honor. So we had, more and more visits. So I think what Toby is asking is, when you say to go back to exactly what they were, I mean, she still gets visits, but I mean, we're not necessarily, doing weekends or anything like that at this point.
No. Site visits is agreed by CPS and items, but we need to go back to our rate. We need to go back to supervise and then kind of work back up. We got hiccups. We don't just go back to where we were. We go, I didn't know y'all were at that point. Y'all know where we need to be. Yeah, we don't reward positive drug tests.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor, just so we don't have a stream of 50 to 75 emails about visitation, can we get clarification from Ms. King what the visitation was like, hours, days prior to the hiccup, as you're saying?
Well, I can read you my order, Ms. Miller. It was 1 time per week for 1.5 hours. Exact date set up by CPS and items. I said within 24 hours. I think y'all worked real hard to get a schedule back in November. She could Zoom 2 times per week for 15 minutes on days set by placement, etc. Mom can attend doctor appointments and child activities if compliant on her service plan. CPS arranged a sibling holiday visit. We've already missed all those. We've already done all the holidays. And so, but basically that's what it was per 1129, Ms. Miller.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
And
Thanks.
then the increase is agreed by CPS and Atlantis.
Thank you.
Back to our schedule. Miss Bennett, has Miss Teal been paying her child support?
Yes, I have gotten some child support payments. I know there was one last month. I don't know if Michelle has it written in here.
She owes for February and March. And
I know
almost
I've received at least two. Let me text Michelle. She's the one who's been mailing those.
Also on 1129, that's when I ordered the ICPC and Kansas to complete supplemented items to contact Kansas relatives to discuss participation or no participation.
We did that.
And y'all did that, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, we did that on January, I want to say maybe January 11th, something like that. But yes, Ms. Leppel and I did it together.
Okay. So basically, we're pretty much going back to the 1129 order as to visitation. Okay, y'all, next question. The trial is set for February. Where'd I get that? May 23rd. I will be in the courtroom. Do y'all want to be in the courtroom or do y'all want to appear by Zoom?
Zoom, Your Honor, pending. If we make an agreement at mediation, then it'll be a pretty short final hearing. I think Zoom, unless somebody lets you know otherwise that they want it in person. We're fine with Zoom.
I would say Zoom if this case is resolved by mediation, in person if it's a contested trial.
Well, I'm gonna put down Zoom and then y'all can always, because I don't ever know what happens at mediation. So y'all can contest that if need be. But there's those new rules about Zoom and in person. You have to let me know 10 days before the 10 days before trial.
Of course, Your Honor, I say that not knowing how I would get my client to an in-person contested hearing to begin with, but
I kind of wondered that. Hey, it's been so fun getting him here to appear by phone, by Zoom. How about doing a bench warrant and all that? Yeah, that'll be interesting.
right.
Yeah. How did Mr. Anderson appear for the mediation? Same way we're doing today?
Yes, but it was with the prior unit. So
Baker, you might want to start working on getting all those, getting Miss Lisa to get all those papers in a row for the mediation.
yeah, I'm aware, Judge. Has
Okay.
a date actually been set for mediation? I'm not looking at my calendar. I just don't recall off the top of my head.
I was looking on the emails prior to court this morning, and I believe May 9th was the date we agreed to in communications. I know it got bounced around a bunch as we were talking about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. I will get Lisa working on that.
Okay. Yeah, we know how fun that'll be. Okay, so there you go. Fosters, y'all be available by phone for the mediators on May 9th. Put that on your calendar, please. And Ms. Bennett.
I was asked to just ask for one more clarification about visits. In your prior order, there was a 15-minute Zoom 2 times a week, and in the order as we've kind of agreed and worked it along and changed things, we're not doing the virtual visits because it was really stressful on the kids, and it wasn't near as helpful as like her seeing them in person, and she was able to see them every week. So I just didn't know if we can still not do the virtual visits or if you want us to go back and re-add those in.
Let's do Zoom 1 time per week for 15 minutes. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Good luck, everybody. We'll see y'all on May 23rd. Okay. Bye-bye. We'll be in recess. Thank you.